All right, so can fire up a quick play and explain here as we get into our Sunday session on ACR. Right now, we've got a 109 100K, which is really the only reason we're playing this early. I'm going to turn off the sound for sanity of anyone listening to this on playback. Anyways, 109 100K starts at 10:30 Central every Sunday, and that's the only reason we start playing this early. 16K, 50K, or 1650, 50K is the only other big guaranteed tournament that we're not like max late reging into right now. And so we're also firing up a $22 satellite into the 215, 150K. So we have other hands to talk about. So this deep, I think this hand is a clear three better fold, and I think from this position, it's just a fold. I could three bet it more down here. I think my three bets here are more like ace nine suited, ace eight suited type hands. I mean it's a 1650, so I wouldn't hate a three bet there, but I think it's probably a little wide. Pulling up, we've got 80 big blind charts, and we're like under the gun versus, under the gun one versus under the gun there. Yeah, I mean, 10-9 suited pure fold. We're looking at low jack versus under the gun one, 10-9 suited pure fold. We are three betting a lot of the stuff I named, and some worse ace X, and some king jack, king 10, king 9 suited type stuff. That hand is like a pure exploit, like not the world's worst three bet, I don't think, but not great. Obviously, should have gotten it in here, but from the hijack, this is definitely an open at 40. I think at 100, I'm going to fold. Here, this is a pure call. Question becomes, what is the worst heart we defend here? I think we have to defend this in some capacity with the gut shot. Obviously, depending on sizing, but I think to this sizing, we never fold a heart, and we just want to bluff worse, or sorry, we want to bluff better hands. We've got ace of hearts X, or we could bluff like a 7-8 without a heart potentially. So just gonna flat. We're gonna get there, and I think pretty easy to play now because I don't think people leave themselves enough non-heart bluffs in this spot. So if he keeps betting, I think we have a pretty easy fold. In theory, I don't think we ever fold here, but in practice, I think I'm just dumping it. I'll tag that though to see how out of bounds that fold is on the turn. Maybe node lock and just really drastically eliminate his bluffs and see how wide we still have to call on the turn. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy to call one, fold river. Apologize if eating my lunch is getting on audio, but we're multitasking this morning. I think we're ever raising this type of hand, we'd like some blockers. I don't think. I mean, that's a clear call. I think if anyone's wide enough, the question is, are they wide enough? We'll call one. Just gonna fold here. Yeah, with the gutter, he bets one, and it's limped pot. I guess I'm gonna call. Here we have nothing, so we fold. Um, go multi-way with queens up here, and pretty gross spot. Here I think, again, like how much are we getting paid when we hit our 3-outer? I'm just gonna fold. This is interesting because like we hate when we face additional action. Obviously, we just have the best hand a lot though. We can get value from Jack X, 9x, 7x, diamonds, straight draws. Our hand still needs a decent amount of protection against the aces and kings that make up a lot of that calling range and whatever this guy has. I don't know if we want to like super barrel off here, but here I think we need some check backs. As being below the 7 I think is a good check. Just gonna fold there. Now when we bet and get raised there, it's pretty gross. So we still need a decent amount of protection, but we also fold out a lot of the hands that we need protection against on the flop. Here, I think we can just bet now, and just kind of bet one. Queen 6 suited towards the bottom, but we're going to open. Here we flop a set, that's great. On this board, I think we do have some big sizing, but I think it's fine just to bet small with this hand. We go multi-way here, we're just dunzo. He calls, 6-5 comes in. He would raise some of the time. Here we're not, again, we're not doing anything. If we had picked up some additional equity maybe, but here we're sizing up, trying to get more money in. I'm just folding. He calls again. It's a pretty good card for us, like, because he's never folding 9x now. Could even raise us. Gonna give us queens again, which we will take. Gonna open deuces here, and yeah, I think we just want to big and not too big because he might even raise us with 9x. So small blinds range is going to be pretty ace x dense. So I wonder how often we check back here. Now he does raise us, which is great. I mean, if he has 4s, we're just going broke here. So I think we just want to shove, get value from 9x. I think I'm going to check back. He did have 6-9 and we got paid, which is great. He checks twice. I don't think he's going to have a ton of ace x. So I think we can just bet for value. Now our range is pretty capped when we don't bet. So we're just going to bet small. And we can have, like the strongest hand we can have here is pocket 7s, which might even just bet on the flop. Now, this is a pretty garbage card because it's like, what does he call us with on the flop or on the turn? It's like, yeah, it's club draws, and then it's like ace x the double checked 9s, and then like I do think for the price he's giving us, we can never fold, but like this is we've got to defend a ton of our range here, and we just don't have a lot of better hands than this. So I call, but we're gonna lose a lot. Yeah. Maybe we can edit out the chewing in post. I'm going to run this one too because I think my thought process is pretty good in terms of checking flop there. Just because I expect small blinds defend to have a lot of ace X, and he probably has the nut advantage on that board. I would guess that he's more weighted to ace X than we are. I don't know if that's definitively true, but it makes sense to me. And if we're going to have a checking range, like kings and queens are most natural checks. And then, check back some of our worst aces to balance, protect. Here, if we were a little shorter, like at 40, I think this could be a 3-bet. This deep, I think it's just a flat. He bets half pot. We weren't really folding to almost any sizing here. We've got to defend 2/3 of our range. Is a 9 in the top 2/3 of our range, of course. So never raising. Want to have either a better hand or a much worse hand to do that with. We get, probably the not low card, and then he bets huge, so I think we could just fold now. But we still have to defend. When he goes this sizing, we've got to defend like 55% of our range, and 9x definitely kind of flirting with that, but having a king I think is pretty bad because we block the types of hands he could bluff with. But this guy this short, I think we just have to open and call off his jam, and standard open at 40 against big blind. Now we're just going to get aces on every table, which is great. Here, if everybody was this short, tempting to, I think this is actually a natural, it's a 1650. Otherwise, I think limp would be good, but there we're going to, just raise and take it. And I just think people don't bluff enough at this stake. I think in the 109, I think I would have limped that. Here, multi-way, this is like one of the worst hands we're calling, but I think we just have some set equity, so these guys aren't going to squeeze us that often, and then sometimes we just hit a set. On this dry of a board, it's tempting to not raise, but I think alternatively it is better to just raise because this guy's never folding an overpair, and he has lots of overpairs that can find scare cards on the turn or river. So he bet into like 6 of us. What's he what's he folding? Here, if we bet 20, the pot goes to 80, and we'll have 57 back. So I think a little bigger, like a 25, makes a little bit more sense. A little more geometric of a sizing, so we can bet similar on the river. Obviously, not our favorite river, just because, like, what are we getting value from here? Did he, I think we still have to go for it, but did he call us, like, how many king, queen of spades type hands. I think we're almost always good here, but he can have a set of aces, and arguably the other stuff isn't paying us, which sucks. I think we still have to put it in just because, like, how many spades are we raising with on the flop? Like, our line doesn't make a ton of sense as a spade draw. Um, but I think that's a bad card and that we're just not getting paid that often. And, one of the hands that we were getting value from, we now lose to. Obviously, he didn't snap us off, so he doesn't have aces or nines. And I think we're always ahead now, but it's like, is he going to call kings with the king of spades here? And the answer is yes. So now we have all the chips in this one, but it's a 5-hour late reg, I think. So not really anything worth getting excited about. Opted not to play this one. Oh, we just have aces again. Easy game. So, like, the easiest 3-bet in the world here. Gosh, let me tank and think about what I'm going to do with this hand. Here, this is an open from, and then he puts it in, which is great news. And he has nines, and we lose. GG. We'll be firing another bullet here. Just let's make sure how many blinds we have. 50, plenty. Firing big on a Sunday. I mean, pretty expected that we're playing a 109, a 22, and a 1650. We had our aces hold in the ones we do not care about that much. Once again, we've been sun running this year, not really complaining. It's fine. We can lose a grand today. Prefer not to. I think his jam with nines there is fine. Looking at the chart at 40, mostly a call. Yeah, so maybe fine's a bit optimistic. Like Jackson 10s can put it in like half the time. And he's more inclined to want to rip a hand like ace deuce suited, or for blocker reasons, even like a sevens or sixes. I think the bottom line is, do people in general, because this guy doesn't know me, we've got 4 hands on him, he's never played with me, do people 3-bet the big blind enough as a bluff? And I average, well, this is a different table, so maybe we had more hands with the other guy. But anyways, do people 3-bet enough as a bluff? And on average, the answer is no. So I think 9s probably performs better as a flat, but I see the logic to why he wants the jam there. He's good pretty often. This, I think, is just a 3-bet. Not pure, but I think it flats more from lighter position with just more people behind that can squeeze. We want to disincentivize that, and so suited 4s, I'm going to raise. Here, obviously, we get jammed on. Things continue to go well in the 109, and we just fold. So we were looking at the chart. We were actually wrong here. We could flat this still a decent amount. Never folding, even as some people get shorter. I don't know if everybody had like 5 bigs, maybe we could fold. But he's going to have a lot of ace X, as we've talked about. Like, I think maybe we just want to check this back sometimes. Let's see what's going on here in terms of they're like 30. No, this is not what we're looking at. How about this one? 7 levels of late reg left. I think checking back like is reasonable there. Obviously, we have enough equity. I think betting can't be terrible, but we could fold them off some like 6s and 7s type stuff. But like, I think King Jack definitely a just check back here. I don't know. We're EP. We've got a pretty strong range too. I'm gonna tag this one. He's clearly got a good hand, and we fold. Decent flop here. Just gonna see bet range. Even with this shorty, it's an open. Had a feeling we might be getting raised here, and I think we just call, keep in some bluffs. We block a lot of the flush draws, which is unfortunate. That's a good card. If you had like an ace deuce here, I think we just can bet range. Ace deuce, ace 9, now in trouble. Really only afraid of nines and maybe deuces. Well, definitely deuces, maybe nines, I should say. Here, I think I just want to go small-ish. We bet 8. There's 36 in the pot, and we have 18 back. This is a reasonable sizing. And if he double check raises us, well, we're not folding. Oh, that's all our bullets for this tournament. Go back and node lock that last one too. It's a type of spot I'm curious about, just in terms of if people do not bluff enough. Because when we, again, have the ace of clubs there, like, he's semi-limited to how many like natural bluffs he has. So again, once we turn 2 pair, I don't think we can ever fold. But I'm curious how high up we can consider folding flop if people don't bluff enough. And then 109, I don't think that's as big of a deal because people are going to find more bluffs at that buy-in level, but just fun to dust off a couple buy-ins to start the day. Told my wife if I bricked everything early, we could hang out later, and we are on track. This deep, not opening. Looking at the chart, it actually mixes pure folds, ace jack O, but opens king 10-0 20% of the time. That's at 80. We got a bunch of stacks similar to ours behind, so folding clearly fine. This we will flat if it folds to us. Multi-way, I think we still get the flat, getting pretty good pot odds, but I'm going bottom at this point. And if it goes bet fold, pretty unfun, I think. People see bet too wide in multi-way pots, so we will not fold, but when he goes half, like, it's 2/3 of our collective ranges, so we have to defend the square root of that. Pretty tight. We've got a lot of stuff in our range that's worse than this. We've got Queen X and 2 pairs and stuff that's better though, so it's like the bottom. We get the not best turn card because his hands that I thought he should be checking a lot on the flop improve. Now, like, we beat pocket nines. We beat, hands like that bet for some reason. No. And we just get there over here, which is cool. When he exists sizing, like, this guy is nothing a lot. I'm just going to raise and hope to get it in against his value because we're just super deep. And he calls our raise, and it's pretty good. So I think it's either a club jaw or something really strong. So I'm just gonna bet big because we have the nuts. That's maybe an exploit, but I'd like to do that with the bluffs that we have too. Here I'd 3-bet if he opens. I'd 3-bet if we were deeper. I'm not going to 3-bet off of 30. If he folds, open, fold to either of these guys. When he limps, I don't even know what to do with that. Makes me think like he's trapping some percentage of the time. Just limp behind. Is that the right answer? I don't know. Our hand seems too good to not be pip. Too bad to raise. Maybe we could just fold. It's too weak to 3-bet. Is this the type of hand we want to bluff multi-way? With some backdoor equity, I think we'd prefer to have an ace. Maybe not. Because maybe these guys don't have a ton of ace-x either. Maybe we have no showdown value. Double barreling this against somebody. Not the dumbest idea I've ever had. Like, particularly against this guy who's super capped. Like, we thought he had a decent amount of traps pre, but when he just checks twice, he just doesn't have any of those. And now he has a lot of like ace high type shit. See if we can get any more interesting hands. It sucks that we had a 2-bullet limit on the 109 because less interesting stuff to talk about. We don't really have anything what we'd like to register for until this guy at the top of the hour. So, do we just want to fold this against 12, 15, 17 big blind open? Kind of do, but kind of flat just because we're so deep with everybody else that it seems like we'd like to play this hand. again. This guy limps. He checks here. I think we can just check back. He's going to have some hands that we need protection against. He's going to have some traps. Alright, well, we're not folding over here. Now he bets. I think we want to raise and run into a flush. Hand is pretty strong. But maybe we do just want to raise, and he's not going to fold any of his diamond decks because, like, I guess population, a lot of their diamonds bet flop. So I think he's more weighted to like an ace-x, you know, with the diamond. Yeah. I don't really want to jam. I don't really want to bet small. Yeah. Yep. Got bailed out there. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's maybe a little punty, a little optimistic. I think well played by opponent. Reasonable hand to check out of position, and then yeah, just get it in. I think potentially check calling, check raising is better on the turn, but this line can't be better. Tag that one too again. I think it's tough because, like, what is our range? Pre there. It's probably a good answer that we don't have a lot of flats pre. I just here do not have a lot of c-bets multi-way on this board. Yeah, I think we just got to be pretty tight pre that last spot. I think you just look at a like 15 big blind, a little jack versus under the gun chart, you know, it has 0 flats, and that hand might be a call there, but kind of autopiloted that fold. If he has bluffs, like, just kind of want more equity, and they can more easily like turn a backdoor. Queen deuce this deep. I think I'm just always folding here. Just wondering what we would do pre. Doesn't really matter when this guy takes this line, but I think mainly a flat this deep. Let's see what's going on in this thing. Folding here, obviously. We have many more levels of later edge. 10 seats, we're currently 3 of 48, so work to be done. Here, once again, against this guy that's just like V-pipping a million. I don't really want to 3-bet or sort of raise and get jammed on. This guy's not 3-betting that often. I think our hand's probably just strong enough to like raise for value. That's close. Like limping behind can't be the worst here. on a lot of flops, and then we just get to win more. Um, 25. I think this is a clear open. I think we get ripped on a decent amount, but I don't think we get the fold. It's maybe bottom of range. He donks here. Do we ever rip or raise for value? And I think the answer is yes, as much as I would not like it to be. We're just not folding, but take a look at this one just to make sure we're thinking about that right. See how wide we can raise when he donks there, because I think his donk is like a thing on that board. This seems like a pretty good board for us. If it wasn't monotone, I think we could bet big. Since it is monotone, I think we bet small. This is again one of those where if like he raised us, we'd be like, oh, what are his bluffs? Oh, we're blocking like a huge percentage. Do we want to barrel? And I think the answer is yes. I don't know if this sizing is optimal though. Once again, if he just goes like call and then raise, I think like a lot of the more natural bluffs are on the flop. Gonna tag that one too, just to see in terms of sizing what we should be thinking there on the turn. Yeah, I think this is pretty reasonable when he's got only stacks of that size. Just rip some hands. Gonna try to get one more interesting hand in maybe, and then stop recording. Cross our fingers that this actually turned out, since it's our first time doing it on the new computer. Queen Jack with these stacks feels like an open to me. Again, it's probably mixing. The later we are, the less mix and just pure open it is. And obviously to a jam, we cannot play. to a jam. This hand we can play. This sizing worries me a little bit. I think people tend to not balance enough, but obviously he has bluffs at some frequency, and our hand is just really good. So. There appear to be some frequency. Worst hand I would call here, like, he chips 18. I think this guy is playing a little wide, so like I think you could make a case for Ace Jacko, but like Ace Queeno maybe is a little more certain, and then like Ace Jack suited, again maybe Ace 10 suited. Here, this is like, do people bluff enough? And the answer is maybe. Do people play badly enough post flop? Also maybe. Bet small with like some. If we had a spade, I think I'd continue, but just gonna fold that. Tag to see two things. Am I calling too wide pre? And do we get to fold post? Like, how wide do we get to defend? Because we have to defend a lot of our range, obviously. This feels like a pretty good 3-bet candidate this deep. In fact, as I look to the chart, it is a pure 3-bet, these stack depths. We do not flop much, but just see betting range when I 3-bet in this spot. He has, some hands like sixes and stuff that are pretty miserable. I don't know if we do we just bet now, give up? We don't have a lot of equity, but like we can fold out some stuff. Mainly I don't know. I don't know about this. It just seems like we have a hand that is bad enough, yeah, to just bluff him off of some stuff. If we check, we can't check call. We're drawing to the sucker end of one straight. So I guess bluffing is better. We will tag it, we will see. It folds to us. This is probably bottom of range this deep. This deep with big blind. This could even be terrible this deep, but this is 1650. People fold too much. Here we will call if this guy folds. Flop a gutter. I think this is a pretty good check raise. Because he's just going to have so much stuff that he's going to have to fold. Sometimes we get shoved down here, certainly. But if he has any 2 overcards, pretty gross. If he has a pair, he shoves, and we fold. Tag that too, just make sure we're thinking about the types of hands we want to check raise there. I think king high board, pretty good for button. I'm not going to be betting, and no equity, just going to be folding. And it's break time. So, this has been a pleasure as always. Follow me on the social media, RealJPB, and hope to talk to you soon.